They said we'd never return. They said that the Shant Club was done. Guess what, motherfuckers? We're back. My name is Alfred, aka Nick. How is everyone doing? Hope you're doing well. Glad to be back. It's been a hell of a long time. Glad to be back. Got some guests coming in. Let's get a few people in now to start with. Let's hit up my main second in command. Take them off. I can see what I'm doing now. Carl, aka the COVID King. Oof. Welcome back. It's been a while. How are you, sir?
That was probably the worst introduction you've ever given me, but okay. As you were right. You're in your description. Yeah, I have COVID and I'm self-isolating, so it's pretty shit, shall we say the least. But I've just enjoyed the last few months, just taking some time away from the channel. Missed you. I missed everyone on this channel, and we are literally just under 2 weeks away now from training camp starting, which is usually the time where everyone starts gearing up for the start of the NFL season. So getting very, very excited for it. And I hope you're well as well.
Yeah, luckily, touch wood. Obviously, we've always championed mental health on this channel, as you know, Mental Awareness Week, etc. Well documented. I had a bit of a meltdown. Obviously, Pete and I went our own separate ways, so I've taken over the channel. We are back to being buddies again, so that's a good thing. Obviously, we had a heart-to-heart and, you know, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm back. I can't wait for the new season. I'm really, really excited about it. So, yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to it. Got a couple of more people to bring in. We've managed to hijack the resident GM from the Nothing But Niners group. Tony, great to see you back.
What's going on? Welcome back, Nick. Bad thing that you left, man. I understand stuff happened. You settled it out. Everything's squashed. But it's glad to have you back. Your Saturday morning shows, it's great. I can jump on with you guys now. Yeah, I mean, Carl, I hope you feel better. It sucks being in quarantine, but, you know, you just got to do what you got to do at this point. But, yeah, man, the season is coming fast. Training camp, less than 2 weeks away, like Carl said. And next thing you know, there's going to be the first preseason game. I think the Niners' first preseason game is on the 14th of August. Really looking forward to it. So, yeah, let's rock, man.
It's probably definitely the most, especially in San Francisco. Obviously, we're going to talk about New England as well. But obviously, Trey Lawrence, Jimmy Garoppolo, who's going to win the battle in training camp, what's it going to be like in preseason, etc., etc. Yeah, it's going to be going to be an interesting, definitely interesting training camp and preseason. But we'll get into that pretty soon. Got one more guy to bring up. Andy,
how are you, man?
Lucky. You on the Shant last night, by any chance?
I was a little bit. I had a few drinks last night, 1 or 12. But I'm all right. I've been sitting out in the sunshine. I've been sitting out in the sun. I'm all right today. I feel okay, actually. I look like shit, but I feel all right.
You go in to buy a 4-pack and end up buying a 12-pack.
I know. I saw they had, so, you know, I was taking one for the team.
Got to do what you got to do. Carly Young, first comment back in the building. We've been away for a while. Good to have you back, sir. Yeah, so training camp's 2 weeks away. And obviously, Tony said pre-season is very soon. Andy, from a Washington perspective, what are you looking forward to seeing and hearing about in training camp, and then obviously to pre-season? What are your go-to things you're looking for?
I think this season training camp, for the first time in a long time, we've got like so much hope in Washington for once. You know what I mean? The years gone by, we're kind of not that fussed with what's going on, but we drafted well. We've got a linebacker. We've got offensive tackles. Obviously, we're going to have the whole quarterback thing going on with Fitzpatrick and Heineke and Carl Allen. So I think for the first time in a long time that I'm expecting big things from this Washington team. It's been a while since I've said that, but last season gave me a lot of hope. All right, we got through with a losing record, but it's the NFC least for a reason. So I'm looking for competition. I think Ron Rivera. I've said this, I've said this to you, Nick and Carl. I think this will be Ron Rivera's first real season in Washington. Last season, you can, with everything that went on, with the COVID, with him getting cancer and everything that just went on, I think now he's fully focused on football, and that's what you want as a Washington fan. You want a fully focused Ron Rivera. Obviously, everything that's gone on off the field with the owner, that seems to kind of sorted now, but you never know in Washington. That could rear its ugly head at any time. But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to camp. And then for once, I'm really looking forward to watching pre-season. We're under a month away and we get to watch some football, gentlemen. So I cannot wait.
That's the thing. I think no one really gives a shit about pre-season. But now there's going to be a pre-season. I think people are actually going to get into it. Carl, what about you? What are you expecting a QB battle? Do you think Cam's got it won? What do you think?
Oh, you was right first time round. There is going to be we have finally got a legitimate quarterback competition for the first time in like 20 years at the New England Patriots. Mac Jones during minicamp was, let's just say, he held his own. He held his own and made some decent throws. Yes, he made mistakes, but what rookie doesn't make mistakes? Cam Newton said in an interview early on in the week that the Patriots organization has been impeccable. It's now his time to hold up his end of the bargain, which basically means he knows that if he doesn't play up to the ability that he is capable of, Mac Jones is going to take his position. So it's going to be interesting this training camp to see how Mac Jones prepares and all that. But I still think come week one, Cam Newton is still going to start for us against Miami.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, just going back to Washington quickly, I think that's going to be Fitz probably starts, and then maybe Heineke takes that. Who knows? I mean, I just love Fitz magic, and I'm going to, again, when the Niners aren't playing at the 6 p.m. game over here, I am going to watch Washington, for that front seven, but if Fitzmagic wins the job, you know he's got a mistake in him, but man, he can sling the ball, and I am looking forward to seeing that.
The problem is
it's going to be entertaining, if anything.
It will be entertaining. The problem is though that you don't get quarterbacks like Ryan Fitzpatrick anymore. The gunslinger has pretty much near enough died out, excluding probably Matthew Stafford. Fitzpatrick is really the only player that can do that sort of thing. Also, he's the only player with a beard that's got that sort of thing. But I think Washington, since I think it's about 2004, no team in the NFC East has been able to retain that title. So narratives, we have to say at the start of the season, narratives have to be reinforced with this. Because it could go to Dallas. The Giants have improved defensively, although I'm still not sold on Daniel Jones. I look at the Eagles right now. They are a complete and utter mess, and I feel sorry for Jalen Hurts.
Eagles won't win more than 5 games.
Jalen's going to hurt, so I don't know about his name. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting...
The thing is, though, Jalen has been shit on since his college days. He played for Alabama, got benched in the final. Tua Tagovailoa came in. He then went to Oklahoma. He's held his own there. He's gone to Philadelphia. Now he's got the starting role. There. He's now in a poor situation where the O-line's not very good. He's got barely any weapons now, excluding Zach Ertz and Devontae Smith. But even Zach Ertz may be on his way out of the door. So for Washington, that defense is their bread and butter. If they can hold off the points defensively, I think Fitzpatrick will he has to make just the easy decisions and give the ball to Antonio Gibson.
Damian Brown now, wide receiver, Terry McLaurin. We've probably got one of the best, in my opinion, potentially the best offense in the NFC. And, and it helps when you've got a gunslinger who can fight. Look at last season, we had Check Down Smith. That wasn't no fault of his own, but he's not exactly a gunslinger. I think with Fitzpatrick. Even if you brought Heineke in, I'm interested to see what he could do with a season under his belt. But yeah, it's going to be entertaining times in Washington. I'll be watching every game with hope for the first time in a long fucking time.
Definitely. Tony, Niners. Now, we're not mentioning sports bras. As much as I want to talk about sports bras and the absolute bullshit that I saw on some of those tweets that went out and homophobic stuff and just hate, etc. What are you most looking forward to? The training camp and pre-season coming out. What's your take on it?
I just want to say it because this team, I think, in my opinion, was hurt last season without a preseason. I think the whole NFL was hurt without a preseason. We're cutting from 4 to 3 this year. In my opinion, I think the tune-up game or the finale, the tune-up for the first week of the year is going to be week 2. I think you're going to see these teams play their starters majority in that game. I think these players lacked it, and it showed. Like players with the restrictions on going to the weight room, working out on the field, stuff like that. It's a big blow to these teams. So I think the 49ers will benefit from it, being able to go into a training camp, have the preseason. When they go on the road, I think they're going to be playing the Chargers on the road, and they're going to scrimmage that whole week that they're in Los Angeles for that game. It's going to benefit them. And clearly the NFL missed the preseason. And I know coaches were like, oh, we hate the preseason. The preseason's garbage. You don't want to risk injuries. Well, guess what? The first couple weeks in the NFL last year was pretty damn sloppy, in my opinion. And that's clearly because of the lack of the preseason games.
Not also to mention the fact there was a number, not to also mention the fact, Tony, there was also a huge amount of injuries as well at the start of the season as well. Not just for the 49, but for every team as well. There was more ACL and more ankle ligament injuries than what we've seen in past years.
Yep. The 49ers were decimated, though, weren't they, Tony, at the start of last season?
Yeah. Bad. Bad.
I think hopefully it was a record, wasn't it, Tony? A record amount of IRs and injuries throughout that whole season.
The last couple seasons has a bad track record. Their IR list would be like a starting team for one of these teams in the league. So it's, you could run, you could jog, you could do sprints, you could do lifts. That's all good, but that's different than football moves. Football moves is what you put pressure on your tendons and your joints, your ligaments and all that stuff. It's totally different than sprinting 40 yards or I don't even know, 100-yard sprints, 40-yard sprints, whatever you want to do, whatever you shuttle runs. It's different than making athletic football moves. So I think with this, if everything goes good and the numbers stay where they need to be and it's controlled, I think the whole NFL could benefit from a true full offseason.
It's definitely, it's definitely good. I'm like everybody, probably looking forward to the preseason. As you say, it's been cut from 4 to 3. Middle game, hopefully, will be like the dress rehearsal. And I'm interested to see, obviously, what a lot of our new players and draft picks, etc., can do, and unsigned free agents, etc. Got a question here from Carly. Apart from I've got my glasses on. I still can't read. Other than the QB competitions, what position battles are you guys interested in seeing for your particular team? Start with you, Andy. What do you think?
Tight end position will be interesting. We've got obviously John Bates coming now. We've got my guy Logan Thomas in there. I think offensive, we all know that Washington should potentially kill it defensively side of the ball. I'm interested to see what we'll do on the offensive side now. We really need to step up. I'm excited to see what we're going to do on offense. Obviously, Terry McLaurin now, he's had the great season last season. Everyone knows what he's about. But I think offensively, Antonio Gibson, Terry, Damian Brown coming in, I think we're really set. And like Carl said at the start of the show, if you've got a gunslinger there now, that opens up a whole a whole thing that we haven't really had for a while now. We haven't had that, probably Robert Griffin could throw the ball down the field. Kirk Cousins could to an extent, but we've all seen what the hell he's been doing recently. So, yeah, offensively, I mean, I pretty much know what I'm going to get from the defense, and I know they're going to step up. I know they're going to do great things. But offensively side of the ball, I think you could see a completely different Washington football team this season.
What about you, Carl? What are you looking forward to seeing? What battles?
The receiver battle. Obviously, the likes of with Nelson Aguilar and Kendrick Bourne coming into the fold, it's going to open up a few spots. I expect Jacoby Myers to be put into the slot because he was the number one receiver that we had last year with 725 yards. That really isn't a number you'd want to see from a rookie, but Myers proved to be really, really useful. The jury is still out on N'Keal Harry. I mean, in reports of him wanting to trade out. I mean, honestly, I would give him up for a freaking sixth round pick. I would honestly send him. I would honestly send him to San Francisco. I would honestly send him to Arizona Cardinals, or we get Andy Isabella. I'd rather we would do that. But receiving battle is going to be interesting. Kendrick Bourne, I think he's going to get in. Nelson Aguilar is our deep threat, so he's going to get in. Myers is going to be the wide receiver one. And it's just a case of who comes out of training camp. The likes of Zubar, Gunnar Olszewski. We did get a receiver in the draft in Trey Nixon out of UCF. I don't know a lot about. I've seen some tape of him. But I put him on the same level as Julian Edelman when he first came into the league. So he's got to fight for his place. He'll end up on special teams to start with. So the receiving battle, I'm really, really interested in to see who gets in and who doesn't.
Tony, I'll let you take this one.
You don't know.
Because I
want to see the whole.
I'm back with.
I want to see the whole roster. I want to see the whole roster battle. Like, if you look at the 49ers situation, obviously we all know about the quarterback situation. So we're just going to isolate that and throw that to the side because we're not – Callie specifically said minus the quarterback situation. So you could look at the right guard spot between Brunskill and Aaron Banks. They drafted Aaron Banks in the second round this year, more of a bigger, more physical mauler who has the ability to get out in space and lead and pull on screens. That's an interesting battle. I think a huge battle is the number 3 receiver spot for the 49ers. You know, you have Ayuk, you have Debo, and then after that, you have this. You don't know because Hurd's injured. Jalen Jennings, who they drafted last year out of Tennessee, got injured last year with a torn hamstring. But for all the reports that you're reading, he's been having solid camps leading up to this point of the offseason. They have Travis Benjamin back. They have Richie James, who's a guy versus Green Bay. He looked like friggin' Antonio Brown out there. But guess what? That's the only game he did that. So the inconsistency question comes into play for Richie James, but he's thrown into the mix. You have, there's a bunch of players vying for that number 3 spot with the 49ers, and then back. Usually they keep 6 wide receivers, and then the bottom half of that depth chart. The tight end spot, if Kittle could stay healthy, I think our tight ends are pretty damn strong. The right guard spot, I said. The center, that's Alex Mack. We pretty much solidified that. I think the edge rusher spot, opposite of Bosa in nickel situations where they brought in Ekubom from the Rams, he could be a potential guy that can fill the role of D Ford if D Ford does not play, or even if D Ford comes back to play. The depth that they added on this D line is ridiculous. Like, you have guys that would be starters on teams that are now backups. Like, they signed Kerr from Carolina, who started in Carolina, but now is a rotational guy. Mo Hurst from the Oakland Raiders. Very talented kid coming out of the University of Florida, had a couple medical issues that didn't work in his favor, dropped his stock. And listen, his production was average in Oakland. They moved on from him. But guess what? Now he's not asked to be that guy. He's asked to come in. When he comes in, just play your game. Arden Key, a guy that I was high on, an edge guy out of LSU. A little undersized, but when his head's screwed on right, he flashes. You see the talent. The quarterback position, okay, we all know it's Verrett and Mosley. What are the rookies going to do? They added 2 young pieces in Lenore and Aubrey Thomas from Michigan. There's a lot of moving pieces right now in the 49ers roster. And honestly, I think it's all up for grabs. I think everything's going to be a competition to fulfill the 53.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing I'm most looking forward to, I would say, apart from the obvious QB controversy, either way, whoever you want to start is immaterial. The running back room.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry.
Trey Sermon.
You had to leave me with something, Tony, right? And
Yeah.
I was hoping you weren't, because I would have been. The well was dry, but you didn't mention the running back. So, yeah, Trey Sermon. I think he will possibly be the lead back, maybe, depending on what happens in camp. You've got to
agree with you.
You've got to not put Radio Raheem on a snap count, but if this team does what most 49ers fans think's going to happen, you've got to keep him fresh.
See, I think by this offseason, the way they drafted, adding Mitchell and Trey Sermon in the same draft, right? They added a guard. If you look at the 49ers draft this year, I mean, I don't know if I came on here and spoke with you post-draft, but if you look at it, they addressed two players per each position of need, right? They went 2 offensive linemen. They went 2 running backs. They went 2 cornerbacks. They only went 1 quarterback. So it's like, all right, you see what they're doing. They're going to try to restack this roster and move on from pieces where they feel that these guys aren't going to be a part of the future going forward. So listen, I like Mostert. Mostert is the fastest player in the league. That sports science thing proved it with the GPS tracker on his shoulder pads. But my thing is, I think their main objective and their goal, they want to get Mostert back to the 2019 role, where he's not the full bell cow. I think we could all agree, and I'm not just saying 49er fans, I'm just saying football fans in general, he's not a lead back, Raheem Mostert. He's not. No. He's that guy that comes in and shakes it up when a team's expecting this. And I have no problem with that. His perfect position is what they did in 19. So what did they do? They went out and drafted a bell cow in Sermon, in my opinion. I think he could be a lead back. And then they brought a back who has a similar skill set and running style as Mostert. Because why? Mostert is now a free agent next year. Okay, he's out of his contract. So now the thing is, and we can go on a rant with this, but we can go on a whole different show. But they have big situations. They have big decisions to make with this roster next year because they have a lot of free agents, again, in minimal cap space. So this could be a scenario, and thank you, Callie. I forgot they added Goldman to the mix from the Giants, who played well in spot duty where he was asked to fill in for Barkley. I think this team has a plan, and it's going to be to get Mostert back to the 19 form and let Sermon be the lead.
And you've also got, obviously, as you said, Gorman, and he can be a battering ram as well. So you've got him in the mix as well. Few shout-outs. Carly Young is obviously in the building. Dion, I've sent you a link if you want to jump on. I saw Scott, Mr. Rogers, Mr. Smug. I've sent you a link as well. John, if you're in the chat, don't know if you are, but I've sent you a link. So if you want to go and check out the links, you can come on. And the last honourable mention is to Izzy, who is firing questions like they're going out. I can't keep up. She's firing so many. She, along with all the other people that checked on me when I obviously was on my hiatus, etc., I won't forget that, and I do appreciate all the DMs I got. As I said at the beginning, I was going through a tough time. Things have happened, but now Shant Club NFL is back. We're going to be back now from the 31st every week. Same back time, same back channel, and I might even let Carl lead a few shows if I can't make it. That's how.
Oh,
yeah,
God.
look at that face. I don't know if that's desperation or friendship. I'm not sure. Couple of more comments here. Sermon is a better version of Coleman, and Gorman can fill the role of Wilson Jr. until he gets back. Now, Tony, I don't know the rules on, obviously, because he was injured before or in camp or whatever. Can he be designated to be returned, or is that him done?
I think it's too early. I think that they're not making any decision until it comes down to the time where they need to make their cuts. They pretty much want him around. They're not going to move on from him. I think that he's going to stay currently where he's at as a part of the 90-man roster until it comes down to where God forbid there's an injury in camp and they need to make a roster move. Then they'll make him and they'll put him on an injured reserve with a designated to return. Listen, there's, in my opinion, I think the 49ers roster right now is in serious flux because you have a lot of people that are brought back or on the last year of their deals. That's why we have an abundance of free agents next year. Because off the top of my head, I think there's 32 or 35 people that are free agents. So with that being said, this is going to be a chance for the guys that they drafted to come on and have significant roles and stuff like that. And if Mostert shows that he can handle that role, stay healthy, playing 17 games now, not 16, they could retain him. They could re-sign him if they feel the price is right. Same with Gallman. Gallman's on a 1-year deal. You have Jeff Wilson stashed. He signed a 1-year deal. And it just, you have opportunities to make decisions after this season. So they're not in a position where they have to jump and say, shit, I got to pay somebody. We got to pay either Mostert or Wilson. No, you have 2 young, talented running backs under contract for 4 years. So that gives you the flexibility to make your decisions.
I think probably the Niner, speaking from a Niner perspective, everyone was really, really worried about this offseason, weren't they? Oh, we've got 30,000 players all going to leave and this, that, and the other. We haven't got the cap space. We haven't got this. We haven't got that. And we lost Kendrick Bourne and a couple of defensive players, obviously Sherman. So, to be honest, I think we're better off this season than we were last season when everyone was going to leave and this, that, and the other. There's just doesn't seem to be doom and gloom around with this roster at the moment. What's your fit, Andy? Are you getting into a free agency frenzy at the end of the year, the end of this season, or how's your roster looking?
We haven't gone mental on free agency. In Washington, it seems to be what's going on off the field and rather on it. But we haven't gone crazy. I think Ron Rivera is going to bide his time and see what we can do with the free agency. I still think that might be some things that happen with the team. We drafted really well. I think it's going to be a case of wait and see. I think camp's the big thing for Washington. Starting next week. I think there's going to be some legitimate competition. I think Ron Rivera is going to get a real good look, and I think you're going to see more. I think Carl mentioned earlier. I think you're going to see more in preseason this season than you have in seasons gone past. I think because it's the first time that we've got a full preseason, and I think on paper the Washington team potentially looks the best we probably had in the last 8 to 9 years. Nothing's won on paper, obviously, but I seriously think that Washington, if you're going to put a team to be an outsider or doing something, I'm not going to be crazy and say we're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl, but if you wanted to put an outside bet on a team doing something, I think the Washington football team could be the one to watch. And I would say that even if I wasn't a Washington fan, you've only got to look at like Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Terry McLaurin, Antonio Gibson. We're a very, very young team. And, we haven't had that for so long. We've just been the team that's plodded on and we haven't rooted any trees up sort of thing. But I think this season, for once, we're going to be the team to watch in the NFC East. And I personally think that Ron Rivera's got a few tricks up his sleeve for this Washington team. So I think we still might see some players come in before the start of the season. But I think we're pretty much set now. I think we're pretty much set. Huh?
Also as well for Washington, not only have you a team that haven't exactly gone anywhere, you've had your team's name be dragged through the muck. Not just the name itself, but your owner. Your owner is a sniveling puppet who I can't stand in Dan Snyder. Everything that he's done. I mean, the problem is though, you've still got another 2 decades of this because he's in his mid-50s.
Yeah.
So But as long as you get the right results on the field, then the fans will be happy. But the fans are tired of the shit that Dan Snyder's actually doing currently right now.
Yeah,
so,
we're sick and tired of that. But like Melissa just said there in the comment, Curtis Samuel's come in. We're finally getting there to be more excited about on the field. I think Dan's now going to take a little back step. If I'm honest with you, Carl, hopefully he's off to look at stadiums, however the hell they worded it. He's kind of out the way, and he's letting his wife run the ship. So I'm excited to I just want to concentrate on football now. I've had so much talking about. You guys know that I run our podcast, and we've had so much with the name change, with the owner, and with everything that's gone on. Tony looks better all of a sudden.
He's younger.
Tony looks way better. Look at him.
Tony just been photobombed.
Yeah.
He did say he would come on, but obviously his children were around. Well, that's fine. Dion, before I bring you in, sir, I've just pulled up the latest Super Bowl odds on Betfair. Okay, not surprisingly, Kansas City Chiefs are favourites, 5-1. Niners 12-1. Cool. Seattle 20-1. That's hilarious.
That's disgusting.
Patriots 25. Even you are mug enough to put a fiver on that, Carl.
I was having a fiver on that.
And
I haven't gambled for 2 years. So,
Andy, what do you think the odds on Washington winning the Super Bowl?
I knew you were going to ask me that.
What do you think?
80-1.
No, they're 50-1, and I was actually quite surprised about that.
That's worth a few dollars
on that. Even I might down.
If you back us, then we are fucked.
No, I'm not. You see, I don't make dodgy bets.
You 49ers fans and bet. Come on now. But 50-1. I might have a cheeky £10 on that.
I always have two bets: the 49ers to win the Super Bowl and Brighton to win whatever division they're in.
So you lose money every season.
You lose 90 quid every single.
You just give £90 to the bookies. Nick, just send me £90 if you want.
£2, and I could win like 1,000. So it's always worth a gamble. Because what did people say when Leicester won the Premier League? They'll never win that. 500-1, 50, whatever they were, and they won it. So you never know. Anyway, Niner gang, please put your hands together for a welcome return after, 3 months, 4 months, no idea. Dion is in the building. Dion, how are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm really good. Hope you guys are doing well over there across the pond. Man, Tony looks a lot younger though, man. I kid you not. Wow.
Tony's been healthy.
You ever seen the movie Boss Baby?
Yeah, yes.
That's what happened. He went off to the side. He drank that bottle. Now he's 5G. I'm good, man. It's glad you guys are back. It's been a while. As far as that goes, and I'm not a betting man, so when they say 12-1, 20-1, all that stuff, I get lost. I don't really gamble. Took my wife to Vegas a few years back, and we didn't gamble not once. We literally took $20 and put it into a slot machine and just hit the button. Like literally, that's never been my thing. So as far as that goes, the 51 on Washington honestly doesn't surprise me. The reason being is strictly based on the fact that they've improved. So once you improve, when it comes to Vegas, your odds are always going to improve. That's definitely not uncommon. You'll always see that. If you see a team, hell, they won their division. They almost won a playoff game with Taylor Heineke, and Chase Young was running around screaming the kid's name, which was horrible because his last name is nothing to be yelling. But hey, 51 odds on them, that's not a negative thing, but it's good to see everyone So good morning, Tony. Glad to see you too, brother. And glad to see that you drank the Boss Baby juice and got younger, and now you're back to normal again. So that's amazing, man. You know, your son was right here at the camera, so it was. That's what I was joking about with them, just telling them he drank the Boss Baby
about
juice.
that.
Oh man, we
Tony,
please.
you want to go back when this post on YouTube, go back to about 30 minutes, and as soon as you left, your son was just
Automatic
stage.
Yeah, he jumped.
If I'd have put it on full screen, but we had waves, we had faces.
How did the birthday go?
Good. I'm actually taking him tonight. We're going to Monster Jam at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Those big monster trucks, so he loves that. Yeah, it's. I'm looking forward to it, but unfortunately, they're saying there's chances of thunderstorms. So we'll see.
Oh yeah, that always happens. Yeah, when it comes to that stuff. But I used to love those Monster Jam things, man. My uncle used to take me when I was a kid. It was always fun to see the big trucks and see them try to run each other over. And man, he's gonna enjoy the crap out of that, man. Awesome.
Yeah.
So what have you been doing in the off season, Dion? Obviously, I saw you did take a break from your channel. I caught up with the last couple you did. What have you been doing during the off season?
Honestly, man, just, continuing to keep things rolling for myself, just working, relaxing. Usually when there's not a lot to do, as far as the off season, I kind of try to think of creative ways. Once I can steal Tony for a little bit of time, I did a show yesterday on our previous drafts. So I got through the Bill Walsh and John McVay era. So I still have the Carmen Policy, the Scott McClugan, there was like a little slight moment where we had Dwight Clark for a year, and I didn't even know that. To John Lynch, to Trent Baalke. So once me and Tony can link up on a good time frame, because Tony's a working man. Like Tony be working in 16, 17-hour shifts, and you got to get that man his space and his time to be able to rest, because that'll take a lot out of your body. But yeah, once we link up on the proper timing, we'll get through the rest of those. But first one was just that. I did a couple of other shows, just kind of a roster check here and there, and I'll definitely get more going as the training camp comes. I'm going to be at the first 2 preseason games, so I'll be able to give a whole lot of knowledge on what's going on. I hope to see a lot of Trey. I'm hoping they give Trey at least 2 quarters every game. At least 2 solid quarters. I know they don't want to get him injured or hurt, but he needs to get the rust off now. If God forbid something happens to Jimmy and he can't start, or he comes in and he's got to knock the rust off in an actual game where it really matters, that's not good. We want him to be, at least a little battle tested. I know most of the time you wind up in preseason going against the backups and whatnot, but at the end of the day, it's still some kind of football. And these are guys that are trying to make the roster. Some of these dudes may even be on a bubble. So I'll be at the Kansas City game, and my buddy, he's a Charger fan, so I'm going to that one as well. So I'm going to get a firsthand look at him, and definitely I want to make sure that, this guy is out there doing what he does, because we'll see a little bit of Rosen and a little bit of Sudfeld. I honestly expect Sudfeld to wind up going to the practice squad. I don't see him making the actual roster.
No, definitely. Just cutting Dion very quickly. Andy's got to jump off. So, Andy, thanks for coming on, brother. We will catch up again before or during training camp, etc. I've got your email now. So, anytime you want to come on, man, just send me a DM or whatever on Twitter, and we get you back on. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks for joining, Andy. Appreciate it.
I will. Thanks, man. Thanks for having me. Good to Tony. Nice to meet you. Dion, always a pleasure. Carl. Nick, I'm glad you're back, mate. I'm glad you're well. I'm glad this show's up and running, my friend. I love you guys. I wish you nothing but success. Just keep grinding, buddy. I'm always here for you.
No worries. Thanks, mate. I appreciate that.
Cool, guys. No worries. Take care, guys.
See you, Andy. Talk soon.
So, sorry. Say again, Carl?
I said, see you, Andy. Talk soon.
Oh, right. Sorry. You froze as you spoke, and I couldn't hear you. Normally, it's my shitty internet. It's probably not fucking changed. Fucking rubbish. Yeah, it's. Obviously before you join, I don't know if you're saying. Tony was saying, and I agree with him. This pre-season for all teams is gonna define how a lot of players play, and how things are going to work out. Now, like you, I'm interested to see what Trey Lance can do, because there was a video put out yesterday on Twitter comparing throws with Jimmy Garoppolo, and Trey Lance was thrown to the man with the most ridiculous name in the NFL, River Craycraft, and they're trying to compare throws where Trey's in pajamas and Jimmy's in a game, right? And to me, that was probably one of the most ridiculous takes this guy was trying to make. We all want to see what Trey Lance can do, and I think we are all in agreement that Trey Lance is the future of this franchise if he isn't a bust. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be, so don't everyone jump on me. I'm not saying that, but no one has seen him play in the NFL against proper NFL defenses. We know from watching college film, he's got that certain something, and they traded up for a reason. So, you know, again, if he has a bad preseason, does that mean he is then going to be a bust, or are people then going to turn and all of a sudden,
just because a rookie quarterback?
Point before everyone starts shaking their head. We all know how fickle fans are when it comes to people being built up to be this, that, the other. And you've only got to look through Ryan Leaf and all the rest of them that came out of college who were supposed to be fantastic, and then they get on the field and they stink. I honestly think, after watching some of the film in college, and you can't judge college and the NFL because we all know it's a quicker game, etc. But that kid has got something. I want him to be the future, but I don't think they should rush him. The same as probably Matt Jones. I don't think they should put him in the firing line to get killed if they don't need to. Now,
the difference is, though, when quarterbacks get taken out of the draft, they are usually going to teams that need a quarterback right here, right now. The likes of the 49ers, they've got Jimmy G, so Trey Lance can learn behind him. Matt Jones can learn behind Cam Newton. There are other Dwayne Haskins Dwayne Haskins is a similar situation. He ended up playing for Washington. He didn't start, and then when he did start, he played like utter trash. But that was... What is that noise coming from the background?
Well, it's not me. I think.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Sounds like your tight chest, Carl.
It's Dion. No, it's Dion's. Something's going on in Dion's background. I don't know what it is. Sorry, buddy. I didn't know what it was. I was saying.
Sorry, I live in an apartment. It's probably the AC.
Okay, fair enough then. At least you got AC anyway.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Yeah, so quarterbacks do get taken in the first round, and they do have some issues to deal with, shall we say? But when you actually have to step in week one, that's the most pressure they're going to deal with. Melissa, completely and utterly agree. Zach Wilson is a prime example. He's just going to go straight into it, and unless he takes off and absolutely scorns the earth for the Jets, that could be a problem going forward. Organizations, when they take a quarterback in the first round or second round, it's usually their backup plan, their contingency plan. I don't think Trey Lance is going to get hung out to dry. This is going to be Jimmy Garoppolo's season. Let Trey Lance learn from him for this season and then see where you go from there. If Lance is ready for 2022, put him in.
Nick, how long do you want to go for this show? Because we could talk about something here. We could break down every first-round quarterback right now.
We're going to probably go to the hour, so another 15 minutes, Tony. So,
right. So we could do this quick, right? Your first number over selection was Trevor Lawrence, right? Now he is a plug and play player because A, the system he's coming from transitions to the system he's going to. So that's the first round pick. He's going to be day one starter. You invest in that. He's your guy. He fits. He's coming from a system that fits the new system he's going into. So let's go to the second quarterback taken, and that's the Jets with Wilson, right? Now, in my opinion, you have a Kyle Shanahan offense, right? Matt LaFleur isn't what Kyle Shanahan is, but he knows his principles. He knows his tendencies. He's obviously taken notes on play calling. He's not as creative as Kyle. Do I think this could be a bumpy transition? Yes. But I will tell you this. If it's the system, if there's a system that could help a transition, and this is the same thing with Trey Lance, if there's a system that can help the translation to the NFL, it's this system because it's predicated off of the run and play action attack. So if they're able, and they invested in their offensive line, they're able to get that ground game up and running and be productive, it's going to make it easier for Wilson in this offense because, like I said, it's heavy play action offense. So if you're running, you're successful, things are going to be open on a play action. Now we have Lance, okay? Now, I think Lance is in a 10 times better situation, obviously, than Wilson because Kyle is the guy, okay? He was hand-selected by Kyle. Now, like I said at Another Bananas the other night, you have to give credit to the North Dakota coaching staff, okay? Because all these quarterbacks, Lawrence, Wilson, Fields, Jones, none of them do or did what Trey Lance did at North Dakota State. I understand the competition is nowhere near 100% on both ends, him playing against and him playing with. But basic principles, being able to do the things that are required from an NFL quarterback at the collegiate level, he's a step ahead of the game, okay? He knows how to take a snap under center. It's stupid shit, like stupid things, like going under center, taking a snap, taking a step to 6 o'clock, flipping your hips, and looking downfield after a play action, okay? Calling a play in the huddle. None of these guys did it. None of them, okay? Turning your back to the defense, being able to spin your head around and reassessing the defense after your back was just turned to it. These are all things that an NFL quarterback needs. So these are things that LaFleur has to work on with Wilson in New York. Obviously, Lawrence doesn't have to do it because that's not that type of offense. And these are things that Fields and Mac Jones are going to have to learn in New England and Chicago, respectively. So right then and there, that tells me the top situation is Lawrence with Jacksonville because it's a smooth transition. Then it's Trey Lance because he's ahead of the other competition. And that's why I honestly think I was a big Fields guy. But once they made that pick and I went back and I just kept watching Trey Lance over and over and over and over, you saw what he did, what other quarterbacks did not do. Now, Mac Jones, I don't know why everyone insisted. At first, I was like, you know what? He's very efficient. Kyle likes that, blah, 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 blah. But if you go back and seriously watch Mac Jones, he's in the shotgun, he's in the pistol, and it's a screen offense. These are all bloop, quick, get the ball out of his hands. He's not fully reading a defense. Granted, he had All-Americans surrounding him, but that's not a smooth transition into the NFL. That's going to take a learning curve. Justin Fields, I said it. I'm a huge fan. I wanted the Niners to take him. I love his competitiveness. He's a leader on the field. He plays hurt. He makes big throws. Didn't take snaps on the center. They're lined up 5 wide. He's looking at the sideline. They're holding cards up. You can't do that in the NFL. These are all things that are going to break down and separate these quarterbacks and who's going to be on the field faster, who could pick it up. Now, you heard Kyle Shanahan say, this kid already knows the install, right? And again, Nothing But Niners the other day, we were talking about this. But guess what? Jimmy took an extraordinary longer time, a very much longer than what Trey Lance accomplished in a rookie minicamp. Okay, granted, it's all mental, it's all film, it's all t-shirts and shorts with a helmet on. I understand that it's not the real go, but the mental aspect, Trey Lance is ahead of Jimmy from when Jimmy came to the 49ers via the trade. Because remember, it took Jimmy 3, almost 4 weeks to step on the field, and Kyle created an offense with a bunch of New England principles. That's why Jimmy took on and went flying out of the gate. But the minute he transitioned to the more of the Kyle offense, you saw Jimmy start to like, oh, okay, now let's go. We're going to work on this and go forward. But he got hurt with the ACL. I'm not saying Kyle Shanahan's the best guy in the world. He knows anything. He's the only guy that can get a quarterback to be successful. No, I'm not. But if you're looking at the tendencies of what Trey Lance has learned coming into this, I think Trey Lance is ahead of the other 3, not Lawrence. He's ahead of the other 3. And that's why I think the 49ers pulled that deal off and gave up what they gave up to get him. Now, if the 49ers stayed at 12, listen, you want to go with an efficient quarterback and then work on him to learn? Sure, you take Mac Jones at 12. But to pull that deal, to give up what you gave, to get there, you got to go with the guy that is ready mentally. That's just my take on it. I'm sorry if I went on a rant, but, it is what it is. Like, I think everyone's Jimmy. If Trey Lance shows up, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Got a quick one here. Sorry, Dion. Carl, I only just spotted this comment from Izzy. Do you want to answer that, and then Dion go with your take?
Yeah, I'll answer this. I'm looking forward to see how Christian Barmore gets on at defensive tackle, because obviously one of our main problems last year was we couldn't stop the run to save our life. And Christian Barmore was ranked 2nd in pass rushing efficiency at defensive tackle in the SEC. Defensively, defensive is our bread and butter. It's usually play a heavy run game and defense. That's our motto for the New England Patriots. And if we can be able to stop the run, we've got the secondary to stop it. Stephon Gilmore, his contract situation is still up in the air right now, but I believe he will sign a new deal with us. We've still got JC Jackson. You got Jonathan Jones. We got Jalen Mills in free agency. Obviously, Patrick Chung has retired now, but now Kyle Duggar has stepped in now as strong safety. And the linebacking core as well. Dante Hightower returning. He's going to be massive for us. Kyle Van Noy returning as well. He knows this Patriots defense inside and out. And also, we added some defensive end pieces as well. Dietrich Weiss Jr. re-signed. I'm excited to see how this defense actually pans out, because if we can be able to stop the run, then I believe the rest of the defense can take care of itself. The running game is our bread and butter, and if we can utilize the running game and the defense keeps getting a lot of 3 and outs, then all we just do is run the ball and let Cam Newton just use play action, or maybe him scramble out to get a first down on 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 3 or something like that.
Good take, Carl. Good take. Dion, join the from and Tony. You don't need to apologise for ranting, because I love your input, because you do talk a lot of sense, and I know Dion wants to chime in as well. So Dion, floor is yours.
I've been telling people forever. That's the reason why that show that I'm breaking down as far as the GMs. I have to have Tony. I don't really want anyone else to jump in on that, because he's the resident GM. Tony sees things that other people don't see. But what I'm telling you is Tony is spot on with everything he's saying. Like, when you look at the first round quarterbacks, you look at Trevor Lawrence. Honestly, Trevor Lawrence is set up to win the best out of everybody, because they're not going to be asking him to do a ton. You know what I mean? Trevor Lawrence going to have to do some basic everyday stuff, but he does have a little bit more experience than the others. He has taken snaps from under center. He does go in the shotgun. So these are things that he can continue to roll with. And then at the same time, what people don't realize is when you have your running back from college come with you to the pros, that makes a smoother transition, period. Like that honestly does, because that's your boy. So you go to Jacksonville, and what's one of the first things they tell you, man? Look, when you first get a home, what you want? Kittle was telling our rookies, get a roommate, get another one, live with someone, split the cost until you start to get comfortable in this league and you start really making money. You got your game checks. Like, somebody's got to be there giving these guys that kind of knowledge. So who better to room with than your college guy? Like, what? Why not? You could room with Travis Etienne. Everything would be cool. Y'all do your own thing. Get a little 2-bedroom joint. You in Florida. Come on now. Don't tell me y'all can't have no fun. So moving to Zach Wilson, Melissa said it best. He getting thrown right into the fire. There is no waiting on Zach Wilson or anything like that, because he automatically has to go. They didn't they didn't go to get you and then at the same time get rid of the current quarterback that was there for you to sit on the bench. So Zach's got to start automatically. So I'll be watching him closely as well, just strictly based on the fact that he has to play. There's no choice. Him and Trevor have got to play. Moving on to Trey. Trey got lucky because he comes here. Kyle automatically says, all right, I can craft a different type of offense around you. And then as far as what Tony was talking about with, him already having that knowledge, studying the NFL while you're in high school gives you a leg up on the competition. The number one thing that everyone says when they transition to the NFL is it's the speed that they play with that is hard to adjust to. So you got dudes coming from all of these other places, and it's easier. Or I can truck this guy, I can run over this guy, or I'm faster than this person. It ain't like that when you get into the NFL. They catch you. So then, when it comes to Trey and him already having the mental knowledge, that's a leg up on the competition. And at the same time, what Kyle was saying is this is Jimmy's first real offseason. Because since he's been here with us, he hasn't had one. Even in 2019, he was still trying to rehab. So when you have a full off season, it gives you the opportunity to be able to digest the playbook properly and whatnot. I watch 49ers Twitter. A lot of people want Lance to start. I'm going to tell you right now, I will always stay with the fact Jimmy will start later down the road. If he gets injured, we don't want him to, but if he does, Trey Lance will come in and Jimmy will never see the field but from the sidelines again. That's just how it's going to work. When it comes to Mac Jones, honestly, I heard mixed reviews. Right in the first part of OTAs, I heard it's going to take Mac Jones a while. We should be wondering, if he's really going to step in ahead of Cam. Then randomly, not but like a week or two ago, I hear, well, Mac Jones might go ahead and start over Cam Newton. You leave it to me, Cam's your starter. You're going to roll with him for that year. You'll let him go ahead and take you where he takes you, possibly the playoffs. With him being healthy, having a full off season, he should be perfectly fine. And y'all probably will get to the playoffs. Super Bowl? Nah, I don't think so. Kansas City owns the AFC right now. They're not letting go. They got a stranglehold. And the only real viable threat to them, honestly, is Tennessee, because they got Julio Jones now. So you got to think about it.
So you're ruling Buffalo out completely, despite the fact they made their first AFC championship in 25 years.
They don't have what Tennessee had. You got to think about it like this: you have a three-headed monster and a competent quarterback. So you have Ryan Tannehill, AJ Brown, you have Julio Jones, and you have Derrick Henry. Now, mind you, Buffalo will be in the mix, but Buffalo is not about to take out Tennessee with all those weapons. And no one is taking out Kansas City yet. They've been there for 2 years. They won one, they lost one.
You made some good point, but I'm going to throw one spanner in the works there.
Okay.
They do not have Arthur Smith anymore as offensive coordinator.
Very true. Very true. So when you're adjusting to a new offensive system, there will be some hiccups. There will be a few bumps in the road. I did not know that. Yeah, when you say that gives Buffalo a hand. But your teams that you're going to be looking at, honestly, I'm going to say is going to be, for the AFC, is going to be Tennessee, the Buffalo Bills, and the Kansas City Chiefs. But I honestly just look at it like this. For us, Jimmy needs to start. I really would like to let Trey watch from the sidelines a few games so that he starts to understand the speed of football. Because those preseason games, he's going to get a good helping of it. But once you see these defensive coordinators looking and going, we ain't got much tape on you, but we're going to figure you out eventually. That's how it works. That's why Baltimore hasn't really gone anywhere, because when they need to rely on Lamar Jackson to throw more often than not, it doesn't pan out as well. If you ask Lamar Jackson to throw 40 to 50 times a game, that's a lot for him. You know what I'm saying? They're getting more run pass rather than pass run.
Look who's late to the party, just as we're going to be going off shortly. Hang on. There he is.
It's cracking.
John, how are you?
I'm doing. How you guys been?
Yeah, good.
Go on, brother. I'm listening.
Back to it again, after the disappointment of last Sunday and the soccer, but we won't go into that because
man, I'm sorry to hear that, fellas.
Again.
I watched it. I watched everything, man. That was a heartbreaker for you.
Yeah, it wasn't
54 years of shit.
Yeah, it didn't pan out, but it's all right. The World Cup's next year, so we can be shit then as well. Did you want to chime in? Obviously, you joined a bit late. We were talking about, obviously, Lance and Jimmy, and is he going to be ready? Isn't he going to be ready? And what's your thoughts on it?
Controversial, right? I mean, there's a lot of people that think that Lance is ready to go, and there's a lot of people that think that Jimmy can handle it with, some rest and some offensive line help. I don't know. I know Jimmy can do it with a serviceable offensive line. I mean, I don't know. If Lance beats him out for the starting role, then it is what it is. But we're not going to pay a guy over $20 million to just get beat. I don't think Jimmy gets beat. I don't even think that it would be a viable competition. I think that if Lance could prove that he deserves it because he does beat Jimmy out in camp, then Kyle knows at least my third overall pick is going to be somebody someday, and I have nothing to fear. But for now, we're going to roll with Jimmy until otherwise. If Jimmy gets hurt or if Jimmy stinks it up, then he knows that Lance is ready to go and can fulfill the role. And, he can run the offense through. I mean, we saw him do it with three quarterbacks: Beathard, Mullins, Jimmy. There's no reason why he can't make it work with Lance.
And he created all different schemes for each quarterback.
He coached them to their strengths, right? I mean, that's what makes a great coach, right? You coach your players to their strengths. So I think with all things on the table, if he knows that Lance could beat Jimmy in camp, but doesn't want to, the media is already chewing this up and spitting it out. I'm sick of this shit. I'm tired of the Jimmy and Shanahan love-hate relationship. I'm tired of it. Just go out there, make yourself worth it, get some trade value, trade Jimmy, get something back, run with Lance, and we know where it goes from there. So that's all I got. I just think that we've got too much invested in Jimmy not to do it. We'll look like clowns if we don't.
My biggest thing is I want Kyle to make a decision because I don't want the back and forth shit. Because this kid is young. He is young. He's never been in this type of setting where, 1 week it'll be Jimmy and then, he'll start for 2 weeks and then he'll shit the bed and then, let's put Trey Lance in. But then Trey Lance has 2 excellent games but then comes back down to earth. Oh, maybe it's too big for him. Let's put Jimmy back in. Like, you don't want that. You don't want to play with the mental aspect of a young rookie quarterback. This 100%. Is his career. So I think it's either Jimmy and you ride with it or Jimmy bye and you go Trey. I think the decision needs to be made and you stick with it. And to me, the way I see it, 6 years for Kyle, 5 years for John, mortgaging the first rounders. I think Trey legit has a shot to be the quarterback. I do because, and I'll shut up if you guys want me to, but I just feel Kyle knows Jimmy's ceiling. It's not going to get better. It is what it is with Jimmy, right? So now, okay, you go with Jimmy. right? Defenses don't respect Jimmy. They're going to make him throw the ball. They're going to stack the box. They're going to make it hard. They're going to make Jimmy have to throw the ball. You saw it in the Super Bowl. That's why, that's part of the reason why I think the 49ers did not win that game. Jimmy was forced to make throws, and it wasn't crazy throws. It was a 10-yard dig route that he missed. George Kittle's doing jumper jacks in the middle of the field. No one's around him. The defense didn't even see him. But if you can't make that throw, and Kyle sees it, and some of the players got frustrated last year and the year before, listen, that's a tight-knit locker room. They're not going to leak shit out, but you could watch body language on TV, and it speaks for itself.
Brandon Ayuk was caught jumping up and down on the field several times. Like, bro, I am standing here. I could have had dinner with my woman.
I know.
And still caught the ball and walked in for a touchdown. You're right. I saw it one too many times.
But my thing is, and I'm not trying to, this isn't about bashing Jimmy. It's about a business now. This is a business decision. Teams are successful when you have a quarterback on a rookie contract. This is the NFL. We have a bunch of free agents coming up. It is what it is. But my thing is, you trot out Jimmy week 1, defensive coordinators are going to be salivating to come after him and make him throw, stop the run, stack the box. But guess what? You throw the NFL a curveball with a guy who's not going to stand like the Statue of Liberty in a pocket and will move and manipulate the pocket, slide out, and then go into an all-out, breakout drill that they call it. The wide receiver breaks off the route, and then Jimmy, the quarterback, throws it, a scramble drill. That has to give a defensive coordinator a shit. I got to account for this. This guy's not going to stand there. So now we have to be more disciplined on our rush, because if he gets outside and I'm sending the house, there's nobody there.
And he's going to truck your safety as well.
The ability of Trey, I don't want to say run, but the ability of Trey to get out and make a play with his legs is better for, I think, Kyle and his offense in 2021. That's all I'm saying. Jimmy, you know where he's going to be. He's going to be between the tackles, sitting behind the center, waiting for something to come open. Trey could roll right, roll left. You see it. But it is what it is. I hope they go with they make the right decision. And this is why training camp's here. They got to battle it out, and Kyle's going to make a big decision. But being that they both got extensions, I don't think this decision is going to be as hard and as difficult, or should I say pressure on their back to make.
So do you think that are you saying that they moved Jimmy? You're not saying that Jimmy will be sitting bench week 1?
No.
Okay.
There's no way in hell you pay a quarterback $27 million to sit on the bench.
Right.
In this league, with a salary cap, no, now if we didn't have a salary cap, you'd pay him $100 million. That's up to you. But when you have a cap, you have Fred Warner, who's going to be a free agent next year. You have guys coming up eligible for extensions, Bosa, Debo. It becomes a business decision now.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting, right? I mean, look, this is what – look, we as a fan base, as a franchise, we need a fresh start.
Yeah.
I mean, we're tired.
Yeah.
We've got to be tired. You guys got to be tired. The content that you put out the last 3 seasons, I mean, something's got to give, right? I mean, people are tired of the narratives. So I'm looking forward to it. I think we'll – I mean, look, like you said, they know his ceiling. So if it's Lance, I'm nervous for Lance for the simple fact that if he's forced to run, I don't want him to get injured,
Of course.
The probability of injury goes significantly higher when you start getting mobile and leave the pocket. You leave your protection. So that freaks me out a little bit. But I mean, look, Lance looks like he's young, fresh legs, right? I mean, he looks like and the players are impressed by him, right? Kittle says he's a star athlete, or I forget his quote, how he quoted it, but he said he's a great athlete, got a ton of talent. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, I think the thing is, like, I don't want to come off saying I want Trey to run. All I want Trey to do is, if they're sending pressure heavy from the left side, Roll to your right. Don't stand there. Roll to your right. Give a receiver an opportunity to break off a route and show his numbers. That's it. I don't want you running downfield like Lamar Jackson. No.
Right.
Get out of the pocket. Create time instead of standing stationary. If he could do, like, I'll give you, everyone loves Jalen Hurts, right? Jalen Hurts, we can't wait to see him. That play, if you go back and watch it, I was watching it the other day. That play versus Dallas in the preseason game, TJ Beathard was the quarterback. He rolled out of the pocket to the right side, and here comes Jalen Hurts on a shallow cross. He rolled just outside the tackle box, stopped, planted his feet, threw the ball, and Jalen Hurts took off downfield and just ran people over. Jimmy don't do that. Jimmy stands. And this guy, he can do that. And he has the ability to make that throw. So if there's anybody that I trust, and I'll be honest with you, his mechanics from North Dakota State to what I was watching on clips, or even like these clips that are being posted on Instagram and Twitter of him working out with IU, him working out with River Craycraft, the ball placement has improved significantly. So that tells me one thing. This kid already improved his mechanics.
Oh, he can throw the ball, fellas. There's no question. He can throw it. I mean, I'm impressed.
And him building a rapport with those specific receivers makes way more sense. Because you have to think about it. If I'm Jimmy and I know my job is on the line, I'm calling everybody. I'm calling George. I'm calling Debo. I'm calling Brandon. I'm calling the guys that I know will be on the squad, and I'm continuing to build my rapport with these dudes on a consistent basis. And I'm trying to run a little small mini camp myself to be able to keep that going. Because one of the things that you have to be mindful of is losing your players. And I'm not stating that that's what's happening with Jimmy, but you don't want this kid to come in with his charismatic status and overtake that locker room. And then everybody is like, well, I mean, we know you're here, but the minute you slip up or the minute you get hurt, the game's over for you anyway. So we like this kid as it is. And I mean, you're going to have a lot of zip on that ball. I guarantee you are. You're going to have a ton of zip on that ball. Where coming out of Trey's hands versus Jimmy's got a quick release. But I'm going to tell you right now, Trey Lance can get the ball down the field, and building that rapport with your receivers on a continual basis is what you need to do. Hell, Jimmy can't even text George Kittle back, and George Kittle ride or die for this dude. So that just doesn't make any sense. So how you going to text? How do I get with you on a consistent basis, and then you don't even get back to me in a text, man?
Yeah,
like you suck at that? And I'm your boy, and I come out with the Jimmy shirt on, and I'm rah-rahing for you every time. I'm sorry, I'm not finna rah-rah for a dude that doesn't even text me back. No, what's the point? I'm not about to promote you. I'm just gonna say, look, Jimmy's our quarterback. You know, in my head until further notice.
Exactly. I agree. And it's not, again, I'm going to say it again. I'm not, this isn't, my goal is not to bash Jimmy. I'm looking at it more than
not at all.
This picture. You got to look at the whole totality of the whole thing. There's a plan in here, right? You have to look at the whole thing, not just the quarterback position. Because, like, you know, if Jimmy's the quarterback, I'm still a 49er fan. I'm still doing these shows. I'm still talking about him. If Trey's the quarterback, I'm still doing it. I do. I swear. But the thing is, you make a power move, if you analyze this whole scenario from the last game of the season last year, even to the playoffs, from Minnesota, Green Bay into the Super Bowl, you start evaluating it on a timeline from there till now, something's up. That's all I'm saying. But if it's Trey, it's Trey. If it's Jimmy, so be it. I got Jimmy's jersey signed downstairs hanging. It's not like I hate him, but it's about the franchise now. It's about the team and getting this team to win a 6th Super Bowl.
Yeah, people don't realize is that's not what we're doing. No one's trying to bash him. We're just looking at it for what it is. There's a reality sometimes that people don't like to face. And some people are out there gung-ho, you know, cut Jimmy now and get rid of him, save the money. I'm sorry, I do not feel very comfortable going into the season with Trey Lance and then Josh Rosen and Nate Sudfeld. Don't get me wrong, I'm a UCLA guy, so I love Rosen to an extent. I don't believe he's had a fair shake in the league, strictly based on the fact that they gave him Steve Wilkes 1 year, and then the next year you bring in a new coach, and that coach automatically literally said what he was going to do and did it. So how do you win in that situation? That's like, Carl going in and saying, I'm going to go play for England. And I'm going to go ahead and be whatever it is, because I don't know soccer that well. But I'm going to go and I'm going to play soccer
make
for
an
this.
analogy and then fail, Dion, because you don't know.
Yeah, okay, put it like this. I'll give you the simplest position. Carl's going to go in and say, I'm playing goalie. I'm the best goalie. I got the best hands. Doesn't matter what anyone does. Nothing's coming past me. And then he goes in, and next thing you know, there's a new coach that gets installed, and he says, well, I don't like you. I like this guy from over here. So Carl just gets kicked to the curb, and we didn't even get a chance to really see what Carl can do. Sometimes it takes a player time to develop in the league. If you look at it, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, they all had really bad first seasons. Don't believe me? Look it up.
Yeah,
Peyton Manning went 4-11. 4-11. He was bad. And it wasn't strictly that defense, because a lot of people try to say that, oh, it was a defense. No, it was not. Peyton was not an awesome quarterback off the bat, period. So at the end of the day, no one's bashing Jimmy. I'm saying he's going to start. I honestly do believe that. Reason being, he knows the system. He does already have a rapport with these guys. And at the same time, he's got a fire lit under his butt, because he's got a young kid, a young gunner that's coming in. And Carl and Nick, if you haven't taken a look at it, man, I did a little bit of a parody on what Jimmy was saying when they interviewed him a while back. Videos, man. I went in because sometimes I like
it's really good.
What people are really thinking, because you're going to be politically correct when you're sitting in front of the cameras. But honestly, I think Jimmy in his head literally is saying this. Look, man, y'all brought this young punk in here to take my job. I get it. That's fine. Will you stop asking me how much of a friend I'm going to be to him? Will you stop asking me all these questions like I'm supposed to fall in love with the kid? I don't want to fall in love with him. I actually want to break his ankles strictly based on the fact that I don't want him to play, and I want to play. I'd rather him not even be here at all. I'd rather them have trusted me to be able to stay healthy. But you know what? I can't. It's been a proven track record that I cannot stay healthy. But at the end of the day, y'all need to stop making it seem like I'm supposed to take this kid in and bring him into my house. No, I'm not going to do that. He's going to learn. He's going to have his bumps in the road. And if I can help him, I can help him. But it's going to happen organically. Stop trying to force it. Because every other question was, how's the relationship with Trey going? How's the relationship with Trey? And you could visibly see in his body language, he was like, if y'all ask me one more time about this kid and not about me and what's going on, we'll have a problem. Jason Verrett even cut them off when they started to say that the word injury came out. He said, nope, no bad energy. We're not talking about that no more. Move on, move forward. It's like Cam for the Patriots. He don't want to talk about no injuries no more. I'm healthy. I'm ready to go. Let's get the offense in line. Let me understand it. I had different things that came up that put me behind the 8 ball, and we still went 7-9. So if you think about it now, I'm not behind the 8 ball. I'm fully healthy. I'm ready to go. And
a full year under your belt as well.
Yeah, look at it like this. You get rid of Harry because he don't want to be there. That's perfectly fine. KB, mark my words, used more, can be 1,000-yard receiver. I guarantee it.
Oh, my God.
People sleep on him so bad. But the one thing I can tell you is he can be 1,000-yard receiver, and in the red zone, he's money. Don't believe me? Go back and look at the games. He's there.
I have watched a lot of Kendrick Bourne's tape, and yeah, he does. He is going to be very exciting. It's going to be exciting to watch. Obviously, we're going to see a lot of his freaking touchdown dances because that's just his nature. That's just his nature.
He'll bring a good vibe to your team, man. Everybody on the team gonna love to have him there, bro. He's like one of the like the energy he brings is just perfect. He has his own YouTube channel. I just saw him. He showed us the house he bought in New England. So he's definitely going to be a good addition, and I hope that kid does have 1,000-yard season and continues to flourish because I like him. Every now and then he drops a ball, but what receiver doesn't? You can't name a receiver out there that doesn't drop a ball. Jerry Rice dropped a few. You know what I'm saying? I think the only person I honestly saw that didn't drop a ball was Chris Carter. I literally have watched many of the Vikings games when he was there, and I really had never seen that man drop a ball. It's like he got glue on his hands. But yeah, Jimmy to me will be the starter, and then after that we will have, if he gets injured, Trey comes in, life continues to go on.
You guys think anybody here think we have a shot at landing Allen Robinson? I mean, I know money. I know he had 2,000-yard seasons, and I know he's gonna. I know we don't have the capital to trade for him, but I'd like to see a shot. I'd like us to take a crack at it. Maybe he would try. Maybe we could figure something out. But I know we've got Fred to sign, so I don't know. I'd like to see us try. Then again, maybe nobody really wants to come because we have an uncertainty at the quarterback position. So, we couldn't even get Julio. If did Kyle admit that he tried to make a crack at Julio? Did he try?
I don't
They
even.
They were definitely interested in him.
They were interested, but the problem was though Julio Jones wanted to get paid all the money, and at the time there was only two teams that would even go there. One of them was my team, the Patriots, and the other team was the Tennessee Titans. But it was Tennessee that got him in the end because they ended up bending over backwards and paying him the money that he wanted. The Patriots said, "No, we're going to pay you this amount of money, and that's it." That's why he went to Tennessee.
Now, John, that was such like a smooth transition what you just did there, and it all goes back to what we were just talking about. Okay, Fred Warner, you mentioned Allen Robinson as a free agent next year potentially. You mentioned Julio Jones. If they get, and I know I'm not saying this, but this is why it's such a big topic right now because fans do their due diligence. Fans are intelligent. They're not just like, oh yeah, I can't wait to watch the game Sunday and that's it. No, people read articles. People look at the over the cap, whatever, all these things, spot rack, and people look at contracts. If they move on from Jimmy this year, whether it's trade, release, whatever, you're getting $25 million off the books this year. You're getting another $25 million off the books next year. On top of the $24 million, we have an allocated cap space. It's almost $75 million. Now that opens up your window.
Sure.
You want to add a Robinson. You want to go out and sign a top flight corner. You want to go out and sign, I don't know, whatever. If there's a position you want to go big on, you have the money to do it. And that's why this is a main topic and it's talked over repetitively until you turn blue in the friggin' face. Because people know, they're educated. They know Jimmy's ceiling. They know the contract extensions. They know everything, what we gave up to get Trey Lance. This is why everyone's talking about it, because they know that the money that they can get. There's a reason why the San Francisco 49ers did not touch Jimmy's contract. And it's this right here. The ability to pull his string and say, thank you.
Right.
And get everything back. This is why we talk about this.
So with the writing on the wall, Tony, with the uncertainty with Jimmy, and players know that there's money to free up. They know the Niners, they got to know, like when we're negotiating or trying to take a crack at a receiver on the market, Are we revealing our cards and saying, look, we've got this much. If we got this much, we'll have $70 million in the next few seasons. Mm-hmm. Ride with us. We'll make it right. I mean, the 49ers eventually have to open the wallet. I mean, I know, Tony, you are not good with backloading contracts, and I know you don't like it, and I follow you, and I'm convinced that we don't want to be where we were back in the early 2000s, where you said we were so backloaded. We backloaded so many contracts that we were drowning, right?
Yeah.
You told me that months back. But the Niners have to stack the cards and put them on the table now, man, and make a move. I'm tired of all of this shit where they're like, well, we did this. Like months later, Kyle's on the radio on the Schrager podcast with McVay and all these guys were like, yeah, well, we tried to take a crack at Julio. Stafford got away from us. Everybody gets away from you, bro. Like, when are you going to get serious and just make it happen? Just make it happen. I'm tired of the
well, that's what he did with Trey. He did that with Trey.
Here's
he
the
made
thing.
it happen.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying I'm a part of the 49ers organization. I'm not saying I know people. I'm not saying I have sources. I'm telling you from my observation, from being a fan from this team from 1988 up until current. Okay? This team has a way of doing business now, different from the way it used to be. Carmen Policy was the GM. Guess what? I signed you to a 1-year deal, veteran minimum contract, and I gave you $5 million in bonus that was kicked down the road. Mm-hmm. Right? You get 10 sacks, you get $5 million. You get to the Super Bowl, you get another $5 million. They did it with Ricky Jackson in '94. His base salary was $179,000. That's why they were able to fit him under the cap. But guess what? He made $1 million for winning the NFC Championship game, $1 million for making it to the Super Bowl, and another $1 million for winning the Super Bowl. That's $3 million that was spread and kicked down the road to future caps. So the way this regime operates, and, Carmen Policy had his way, and Deanna, I know you want to talk about this on a separate show. We'll get into it. But the way the 49ers operate now, they set a price for a player. Perfect example, Matt Stafford, okay? Now, look at your current situation with Jimmy and his cap figure, $27 million. You could bring him in at $22.5 million with all the bonuses and traded before a certain date, whatever. I don't know the exact number to the T, but you got to ask yourself a question. You're going to mortgage 2 first-rounders, just 2 first-rounders, because obviously they probably would not want Jimmy Garoppolo. You're going to mortgage 2 first-rounders for a 33-year-old quarterback who's looking for an extension that's going to pay him at market value quarterback. What are you doing? You want to go all in and win for 2-3 years? Yeah. Is your roster ready to do that? I don't know. So what did they do? They did the business way. They traded their future to get Lance, a 21-year-old kid that Kyle could mold. No injury questions. Stafford's got injuries issues, his back, his neck. Same thing like D Ford, right? But what I think where my pet peeve is the uncertainty due to COVID, right? They're not willing to announce the caps going forward. Oh, we'll give you the floor. It's going to be I think they said it was going to be $200 million next year or $195 million is the floor. You don't know where it could go. Mm-hmm. It could go to 220. It could stay at 195. If there was a blueprint, if there was like a contract saying, okay, in 2021 the cap's going to go to 212. In 2022 the cap's going to go to 225. Then you could structure money down the road to fit. The thing is, you don't want to get to a point in 2022 saying, all right, listen, we're opening up the stadiums. We're at 195 right now. I think we could probably get the cap to 225 with the TV deals. Amazon's buying in now. We should be around projected 225. And then all of a sudden you sign all these deals and say, oh, shit, we're only at 200 million. Then what do you do? That's the problem. Now you're going to have tons of dead cap space because you got to cut players to get below the salary cap. That's why they're very methodical in how they do these deals. And to be honest with you, it's not a homer thing. Parag Marate and his skill set in manipulating money and figures, and it's unreal. He's not a football guy. He's an absolute accountant. He's a
numbers.
He's a
mathematics kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you want, and you've got to stick to that format. Now, the 49ers have the ace in the pocket right now, and that's Jimmy Garoppolo's contract. They seriously feel that there's a guy that can make this team better that's not mortgaging picks at an age of 31, 32, 33, looking for a payday. There could be a possibility they do make a move. Obviously not first rounders, but there could be a scenario where they bring in a young talent. Now, what they did was they said, okay, if we do the Stafford route, we're all in for the next 2-3 years. but we're losing 2 first-round picks. If we do the Trey Lance route, we're losing 2 first-rounders and a third-rounder for a 21-year-old talented quarterback on a rookie deal.
Right.
That's the difference. That's where the business kicks in with this. So, I mean, listen, I think I was a huge Stafford guy. I loved it. But then when you sit back and really analyze it, you're taking on a 33-year-old quarterback who's looking for another.
Sure.
So it's kind of like, all right, is this roster one quarterback away? Can it be? Yes. But you had a lot of guys coming back from injuries that they're question marks.
How do we convince, Tony, how do you convince veteran receivers or guys like Allen Robinson, how do you convince them to come to your team if Jimmy Garoppolo is going to bounce and there's a rookie quarterback at the helm? He just got done with Trubisky and a shit show in Chicago. How do you convince these guys that this is the place to be? How do we land him?
Good, Dion. Good.
I can tell you exactly how you convince them. The fact that you have that young quarterback there. What you do is, and this is the reason why I loved Eddie DeBartolo, you help them to understand the 49er family in our way.
The culture.
Perfect example is right above our heads, Carl. They have the Patriot way. They don't play about the Patriot way. They're not going to change it to make you feel more comfortable. You're going to adjust or not. Period. You showed them the 49er way. Eddie D was one of those people who could get people to come and play with him. His GMs could make the moves, and the moves would be made and work in their favor because of who he was. You talk to those dudes and you let them know, look at the system we got with Kyle. Look at the quarterback that we have. Don't worry about targets. They're coming. Understand that the team comes first, you come second, Super Bowl comes after that, life moves on. You have to sell everybody a dream. And at the end of the day, our dream is going to be something that's going to be closer to reality than what other people can offer. If you tell them, I got this young kid, Trey, he's not going to look and go, well, you know, Mitchell Trubisky was super hyped coming out of college, and he was nowhere to be found until right up to the draft. Nobody was talking about Mitchell Trubisky. I guarantee you, because I was watching football all that time. No one said anything. Closer to the draft, he got hyped a little more. And then the Bears wind up trading and mortgaging the future on a dude that nobody even cared about. He played his football at North Carolina. Name the last quarterback to come out of North Carolina, people. You can't, because there isn't one. The last great thing to come out of North Carolina was a man by the name of Julius Peppers. But, Tony, the floor is yours.
Okay. I agree with you to an extent, Dion. I think Eddie DeBartolo, when he purchased the Niners in 77 or 78.
77 or 78.
He brought in Bill Walsh, and he built that team. He from the day he took that team over, he built it. He said, you know what? This is the way I'm going to do it. First class, everything. I can tell you right now, I met Eddie DeBartolo once in San Francisco on the Fisherman's Wharf. Okay, I swear to God, I was on those things, the cable cars. The cable car stopped, right? I looked behind me, and it was starting to turn. Eddie DeBartolo was valeting his car, right? This is the God's honest truth. It was Eddie DeBartolo and Carmen Policy. I was kind of like, you know, whatever. My dad goes, no. He goes, look who that is. He goes, you know who that is? I said, no, Dad. Why? Who's that? He's like, that's Eddie DeBartolo. I said, get the fuck out of here. He's like, yeah, Eddie DeBartolo. I said, so we got off the thing.
I'm jumping off.
We got.
They could be moving. I'm tucking and rolling.
My dad goes, hey, Mr. D, how are you? Eddie DeBartolo's the nicest dude in the world. He came over, took our hands. How are you? I met Carmen Policy. Everything nice, and they went on their way, right? His theory was he wants this team, and this is the way his dad ran his operation in Ohio. Everything was family oriented. You take care of your family.
Yep.
You were a 49er, whether you were a janitor or the Pro Bowl, All-Pro franchise quarterback. You got taken care of the same way down the line. Yep. So what happened was when he got in trouble in Louisiana, the Yorks took over. They weren't football people. They were just business people. And then the 49ers went from high class to a laughing stock. Okay.
Yep.
They signed the team over to Jed York. He went through his rough, whatever you want to call it. Then I swear to God, Jed York sat with Eddie DeBartolo.
He
Because
did.
everything this team is now since they brought in Kyle is the way Eddie ran that team.
He literally apologized to us as fans, which he
To the
hadn't done
team.
over the years. And you're right. He did sit with him, and I know for a fact he did.
Eddie DeBartolo, during games, would charter 747s for players, personnel, family members, and take them to road games, put them up in hotels, first class meals, everything. He was like a family.
He was the first owner to put his players in first class and charter them.
Yes,
But there was one thing, Tony. What's the one thing that the players needed to do to retain all of those benefits?
And that's why
They
people
needed to
bought in.
win.
They had to win. I'll treat you like gold.
Yep.
You're gonna effing win for me, and that's it. There was zero
That was the one
tolerance.
thing. Yep.
You win. George DeBartolo. Eddie DeBartolo almost fired Bill Walsh twice.
Oh,
Twice.
yeah. They had their moments.
Okay.
I did my research. They had their
But
moments.
it was tough love. Eddie knew it. He wanted the best for that team, the best for Bill. And look at it now. You're starting to see it now. Jed York is doing the same thing his uncle did. First class this. He pays for things. Look at what's going on right now with the whole Richard Sherman thing. Who was the first person to come out and reach out to Richard Sherman? John Lynch.
Lynch.
Why? Because of the
We
culture
support
of the 49ers, and it's a former player helping a player in need. That is huge. Don't think these guys don't see that. You got D Ford with a bad back and a bad neck. He's still on this team getting paid. They kept Weston Richburg on this team. Why do you think Weston Richburg flipped his salary so he could retire and the team will get zero to minimal cap penalty? Because the way they treated him. They could have told him to kick rocks 2 years ago. You're done. Your knee's shot. You're not playing.
I would have. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what I'm saying? But that is what this team is like. It's a tight-knit group, and I'm telling you, I'll say this right now. If Julio Jones was a free agent, he would be a San Francisco 49er. Hands down.
Yep.
Hands down. And it's not because of money. It's because of Kyle. These players love Kyle in this league. They respect his offense. They think of him as a genius and a wizard. And the 49er culture. That's what this is about. And I
agree.
Again, this is Nick's show. He hasn't talked in an hour. I'm sorry. But this is what this is
I could have
about.
put a cardboard cutout. I could have put a cardboard cutout here like this, and no one would have noticed. But Tony,
But that's what it is. Don't think players don't see what's going on with this organization.
Oh, yeah.
They see, they talk. Everybody, you talk. I was listening to an interview the other day, and it's somebody that left the 49ers. Oh, the Eric Crocker. If you don't watch Eric Crocker, please, Croc TV, go check that out.
Yeah.
He had DJ Reed on one of his YouTube shows or a podcast, one or the other, and he flat out asked him, "Yo, what's up with Kyle?" He's like, "No, you got it all wrong, Croc. Kyle's the man. It's a family atmosphere. I understand why I'm not there. They were flat out open with me, but they took me, and that's why I'm here." This is what is being said by a guy who was cut by the 49ers and picked up by a division opponent, the Seattle Seahawks. As a Seahawk, he's saying that about Kyle. That's respect, man. And the 49ers are, again, an elite organization, first class, across the board. And that's why, if the uncertainty wasn't here due to COVID purposes with the money, I think this team would – who knows? They could have an all-star team.
See,
this is what we talked about, Dion. This is what that's exactly what we talked about with Breezy in that green room thing. He said that the 49ers organization has that DeBartolo feeling now. Since Shanahan, Lynch, since we found our way back. We lost our way with Trent Baalke and Harbaugh and Jed York. There was frustration. There was trouble,
Tension.
man. There was
a
trouble.
lot of tension. with that.
Tons of tension. But now the franchise feels like a DeBartolo atmosphere all over again. Everything's gelling. We were winning. We've got Players love the coach. They love, I just feel like York found his way back to the DeBartolo way, if that makes sense.
He did. And to touch on what Tony was talking about when he said loyalty, I'll give you a perfect example of that. I'm a Chicago Bulls fan. I love the Bulls. I've been watching Jordan since the 80s. So can't nobody tell me nothing about my Chicago Bulls. I don't care whether they suck or not. I ride or die with my squad. When Dwayne Wade was a free agent, the first go round, you're a Chicago kid, come home. Like, we want you there. You know what Dwayne Wade said? I would have went. There's no loyalty in that franchise. Why is Michael Jordan not part owner of the team? Why is Scottie Pippen not involved with the team? Why don't you see Dennis Rodman involved with the team? Where are all the former players? Yeah, where are all the former players that made your team great, that helped you win all these championships? Why are they not involved with your team? This doesn't make sense. So why would I go there? He said, when I came to Miami, I saw Alonzo Mourning. I saw Tim Hardaway. I saw Pat Riley. I saw all these guys. He said, so the loyalty to me means a lot more than anything for me to be able to make my decision, because I don't want to go somewhere and then you guys just shove me to the side and trade me the next year because you feel like you're in a rebuild mode. Life don't work like that. And that's why when York finally came around and started doing things the way that Eddie did it, if people out there watching don't believe us, YouTube, NFL Network, and YouTube, I think it was a piece basically on like the 49ers during the 80s. Nobody wanted to play us. Nobody. You did not want to smoke with the 49ers in the 80s. We were too damn good. And I think there were several players that said straight up, I will always be one of Eddie D's boys. They literally described how this man, say I'm a running back for the 49ers and Tony is my fullback. John, you're my wide receiver. Alfred, you're my kicker. And Carl, you're the backup running back. Everybody in our family that's actually significant to us, he literally knows them. He knows their names. He can tell you birthdays. Like, this dude was really involved with you to a point where you truly felt like a family member. And even when you left, it wasn't a thing where you couldn't call him and talk to him. He never just disregarded your presence. Oh, you're not playing for my team anymore. I don't need you. That was never the case. When you build a culture like that, a human being respects that more often than not. You don't want to waste your time with an owner that's just going to trade you 5 minutes later for the next best thing smoking. You want somebody who's
humility, brother.
What you've done.
Humility.
And it's not bullshit.
I've got to look at what Eddie D did for Dwight Clark.
Exactly.
And the fact of where he's buried, and that the goalposts from Candlestick are there, and he's buried where the catch took place. And we've had Jesse on the show, and he's spoken about that pond.
There you go.
And it's there, and it is. You can feel definitely 100%. It's smoke and mirrors, whatever you want to. But that feeling is coming back, and it's making everybody who is a Niners fan proud of the franchise again. And we go 4-12 next year, or 4-13, whatever, with Lance. That won't matter, because the pride is back in the city, in the team, and that is down. And I never thought I'd praise Jed York in a million years. I never thought I'd praise him because of the buck-ups he made with the coaches and the GMs and everything. But now we're 5 years. Is it 5 years that Carl and John have been together, or is it 4? This is 4 years.
I think it's 4.
It's 4 years.
But everything has changed, and it's changed for the better. And now when you see Jed York do an interview, or you see some of his tweets like during the draft, you know that it isn't BS. It's that, if he says, I want a championship, that isn't just BS for the cameras. He actually now believes that we can do that. Whereas before, with a lot of, like, when he introduced, oh God, what was that coach's name? Not Chip Kelly, the other one. The other
Tom
idiot.
Sula.
Tom Sula.
Yeah.
Do you know there was a point in time where Jed York was paying Singletary, Tom Sula, and Chip Kelly at the same time?
At the same time. Yep.
No, not Harbaugh. I mean Shanahan.
It's ridiculous, and he must have learned lessons. I think all owners. I mean, Carl is lucky that his owner, apart from liking massage parlors or whatever it is he was into,
innocent until proven guilty. Move on.
Hey, on a bright note, and this is not a knock against the Patriots, Carl, but Bob Kraft did reach out to Eddie DeBartolo to meet with him on how to run a franchise.
Yep, he sure did.
Yep.
He sure did.
Bob Kraft sat down with Eddie DeBartolo and Carmen Policy. Okay? And I know Tom Brady had a big, huge part in your success, but the foundation was set by the 49ers. The theory.
So just remember that, Carl. So change that background, get the 49ers up there. Right. We've only run over by an hour. Well, I don't know, an hour and 15 minutes.
Well over an hour. Can I just bring up something here? Go on.
No, go on.
There's something I just seen. I scroll through Twitter every now and then, and I've come across something. So I've made this little overlay. Please bear with me a second. Not only have I raised my eyebrows over it, I've pissed myself laughing at the same time. And it's this. A tweet here from Gavin Marshall. We came to a consensus Steelers pre-training camp record on the UK Steelers pod. Steelers go 10-7. That's fucking bullshit.
9 wins or under 10 plus wins is realistic, yeah. You obviously know, I mean, everyone says Jimmy Garoppolo's a statue, but they've got the original Statue of Liberty and they've put it in a Steelers uniform.
He's going to throw 5 10-yard ducks, that's it.
Exactly. I've got to get out of here. I've got things I've got to do. John, thanks for jumping on. I did send you the email, obviously, but you didn't get it till late. That's fine. If you go to the replay, John, when it comes up on YouTube, go to around 33 minutes where Tony disappears and just watch his son do the best photo bombing you've ever seen.
Oh yeah, man. Hey, look, we joked that Tony drank the Boss Baby juice and he just went back in time. That's what happened. It was like, I swear to you, it's literally like looking at a mirror image.
That's awesome.
And Tony has given me 2 great moments on YouTube. The one that happened today, and obviously the very, very famous New Orleans pre-game show where you lost your shit and broke your table. Best 2 ever. Best 2 ever. Do you know what, Tony? Every so often I find that Nothing But Niners show, and I have to track it and see if I can find where you lose it near the end. Because that, honestly, I still laugh now, and I can't believe Mr. Placid turned into like the Incredible Hulk, like that. Something switched on in his head and he was gone, and it was Placid. John, thanks for jumping on. Dion's always a pleasure. Tony, thanks very much for jumping in. Thank your son for his cameo and your daughter as well. You've got a great family there. Enjoy your monster trucks and all that tonight. Hopefully the rain stays away. Carl, enjoy self-isolation. I'm sure everyone that comes in contact with you is glad that they don't have to see you for 5 days. I am Alfred.
Wow. Fucking time out. Fuck me. Come on.
I'm sure everybody has had a huge sigh of relief, Carl. Anyway, my name's Nick.
Last thing. Can I just say one thing? Just
first. Go on. Sorry, go on, Carl.
Two things to bring out. On the 31st, I'll be at a different location, so I'll be at my NFL fantasy draft party. So I will be trying to draft and drink at the same time. And this coming Tuesday as well. If everyone's interested, on the 2 Feet and Bounds podcast, about to be released today. On Tuesday night, I've got a battle of the divisions, and it will be the NFC West. I have got Mr. Wayne Breezy bringing the heat for the San Francisco 49ers. So make sure.
Batten down the hatches.
The volumes.
Oh, Carl, if you have space, believe me, I'll get in there with you. If it's strictly for Breezy, leave it that way. But if you got space, I don't believe me. You know I'm gonna defend my squad.
It is strictly for
Night
Breezy.
out.
It is strictly for Breezy because everyone's only going to get 25 minutes to have their say. Want to get a podcast in, which is an hour and a half for 14.
Breezy gonna bring it home for us. I got full faith. Breezy bringing it home.
He will.
He gonna bring it home.
Just like I said, I was only going to do half an hour today. We're now on 1 hour and 50 minutes, and I've loved every minute of it. Thank you for joining me, guys. It's good to be back. We'll see you on the 31st. Everyone stay safe. If you have to wear a mask, wear one. If you don't, you don't. Social distance, wash your hands, all that other old bollocks. This is me, Alfred, a.k.a. Nick. Shant Club NFL is back, baby. Let's go.